Today's presentation will be more like a class, because there is too much ground to be covered, and I don't know what you know about what I'm going to talk about. So this time, feel free to interrupt me. Feel free to check if I not made a mistake. Feel free to ask what you want whenever you want. I'm Jose Calhariz. I'm going to talk about one important decision I made many years ago when administering Unix machines. Why I no longer do make install on my servers. This means that I no longer install random software by the desires of the upstream. I just do whatever I think is needed, so I make it easy. Install, uninstall, upgrade, that kind of things that I'm too used to do with apt-get install, that I love so much. Okay, let me talk a bit about myself, just to be recorded. I'm going to explain what problem that I had in the past and when I came up with this solution. How to compile a simple package for stable, picking up a package from testing on stable and do a simple compile is very simple. Meta package, something that I've created for myself. I found out how useful they are, and they are very simple to create. I've created meta private package with just one binary provided by the vendor. Package from RPMs. So if the vendor don't support Debian but produce binaries that are compatible to run on Debian in RPM, it's very easy to convert to Debian. And private package from random software. Who I am? I'm a sysadmin of Unix machines and Linux for 2093. I'm a Debian contributor. I'm free software programmer on my free time, and I'm a Debian developer since 2017. And this happened before I am a Debian developer, as a sysadmin. So when it started, what was my problem? I had to take care of several Unix servers with very, very stripped down software. This means that when you want to do something serious with them, you need to go to the internet to fetch new tools. I need to fetch GNU tools and the other software. So I end doing several times make install of software. What I ended was with a mess on my Unix servers, because there is no way to see the installed software and their versions. You have to keep up our personal list on the site. There's no way to safely remove the software because the uninstall usually is made by the programmer, the upstream. This means that you are on the mercy of the quality of the uninstall script. You can remove too many or too little. In the end, I was missing the power of apt-get. So I decided I no longer on a new machine, my machine, will not longer do a make install. So my first interruption on this flow, what is a Debian package? Everyone knows what is a Debian package?
I think you're safe on this one. Don't ask details though.
No, I'm not going to enter in details. I just want to give a simple explanation for the people that are Ubuntu or Debian user or derivative and want to understand what is a Debian package. Debian package is an archive with files to install on a machine, a bunch of files like a tar or a zip, a glorified zip I've heard yesterday, and a group of control files. What these control files have? Appendices, for example, appendices like what software depends to run, what is very recommended to make its software run in the most productive way, recommends, and suggestions. What software is useful for the software to run and conflicts. If it is installed, the software we are going to put will not run well, or not run well anyway. And a group of scripts that to complement the files that you are installing, to do the install, to complement what to do in install, an upgrade, or a remove. Doubts? So let's go back where I was. So what was my problem that I was trying to solve? I was on the other campus, Tagus. I had to my care the labs for the IT classes, IT courses, and I had something like 60, 80 PCs with 3 or 4 models only. That's good. I don't need to do an install for every PC on every lab. I don't need to do 60, 80 installs. These machines need to have Windows and Debian stable. Sometimes I solved the problem with Debian testing when it was near release. And one multi-user server with same Debian software, so the students that were not in the campus could from home or other places test software on the server, see if their homework was ready to be presented to the teachers. And it worked. I have several times heard that, oh, your project don't run in that server? It was called Raquel. It's not ready.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you once again.
Yeah. We'll deal with you later.
Okay.
Maybe just say okay and then we can cut to the first editing.
Okay. Okay. Another thing is the request of software for the classes, for the laboratories. There are several requests every semester for 6 months for software that was not available on Debian or in any Linux distribution. So software that was not yet ready to be in a distribution, in a Linux distribution, but sometimes software very well prepared to be compiled and put on a Linux, or just request for versions much more recent of software than was on Debian stable. And this was my day-to-day on the other campus preparing the labs. I was responsible for the Linux, and my team was responsible for Windows. How I started? I learned how to compile a package, how to pick up a package from Debian testing, Debian stable, and do compile. And it was easy. Really easy. Really easy. So I had so many packages that I set up a private deb package repository where you can consult the mirror from history, because the server no longer exists. And now I put it on my personal server, the app archive. So you can look there if you want to see all package I've prepared. Be prepared to find some non-free software that I don't have no rights to distribute. So don't make a fuss, please. And I've created, to make for my work and to be reused by the students, I make several meta packages to represent what software a course needed. For example, there are two examples here: AED, Algoritmos de Estrutura de Dados, one class about programming, and the other, Artificial Intelligence. How to compile a Debian package? It's very easy. You can try. So get the source of the package. The easiest way is to go to the packagedebian.org, go fetch the DAC file that is a description of the sources of the package. Use the Good morning.
May I complain that your PPA does not contain any software newer than Buster?
Yes, you can complain. This was made for many years ago. It was in 2012 where I moved campus. That's why it's called the Shive. Because there is a Deb PPA.
Checking that now.
Okay. So get sources with command dget, pointing to URL. It will download all the files, unpack it, and you get a directory with sources ready to be compiled. Simple as that. You probably will need build depends. What are build depends? It's the extra software that you need to have installed on your machine to do the compilation. You are doing a backport of a package. This means that build depends on the sources may not be the most appropriate for the environment you want to build. So, as a shortcut, as this is all run as a user, you need to do as you do to run apt-get build depends. This will fetch the build depends of your package for stable. And most of the time is enough. The increment of the version is a recommendation that I have. Not many people do it. This means that they compile a package, you have the same version. In the end, after some time, you don't know if it is the original package from testing or unstable, or if it is a compiled version. So my suggestion is to do that command, dch-bpo. That's a shortcut. dch is a command to easily to manipulate the changelog file. Oh, yeah. Okay. What I was saying is to use the dch command with that flag bbpo that appends a string to the version that gives you a clue that you are dealing with a software that was compiled for stable and what version of stable they are using. And to finish everything, you just compile the package and rebuild it with debbuild/uc/us. Then it's a pity that these flags are not mandatory, in the sense that what I'm saying is when you are not a DD, so you are not going to sign the package, most probably don't have a PGP key yet ready, so you just need to compile and forget about everything else that is needed on a proper Debian package. If the build depends fail, there is a flag to say, do as I say, don't pay attention to the build depends of the sources. Do your best effort. And most of the time it works. So, so this is one example of a meta package. This meta package represents what in total, let's go to the description. Programas para a cadeira de algoritmos e estrutura de dados no Taguspark, segundo semestre, 2004-2005. This means software for the course, the programming on Taguspark for second semester of 2004-2005. Yes, this is that old. That's when I started. And what software the teacher requests? He requests a debugger. I installed two, the GDB, the traditional, and the graphical one, 3Ds. A make to help compile, Valgrind, and some dependence of Valgrind. Valgrind is a tool to help understand if software is running well, to detect memory leaks, buffer overflows, that kind of things. An editor, Jose Max, because Vim was already on the machine, and the software for the database, MySQL. And because this was for a PC, one only needed the client because I was providing the server for the class. Of course, I put my ML, so at that time I was not a Debian developer, so I only had the ML of my campus. And because this is a private package, I created a section, Taguspark. So it was easier to, when searching for the software, to see what I've prepared for the students. This section that says top Taguspark doesn't exist officially. It's an invention. But it's allowed because it's a private package. Next. I was needed several software from the vendors because at that time I was responsible for HP machines. That's the most common. I needed to upload the firmware of the machines. What you have in three first examples is three precise models of the servers. And I wanted to update the BIOS of the machine. And the vendor provided one binary, one simple binary. So, my first example of what is a private package is a private package that we only package one binary, nothing more. And it's very easy to do it. What I've accomplished with this, by putting the firmware update in a Debian package, I was knowing, as I was updating the security updates of the machine, if I have the BIOS updated. Simple as that. That's something that I surveil with so much attention, security updates. So I know the firmware the machine is updated because it's considered a security update. A personal security update. This is update. And the last one was simply a template that I've created to make it easier to create the other package. So, what is relevant from here? What I needed to make from what we deviate from a standard Debian package is a small portion of a makefile that is put on the sources and do something simple. I declare two variables. What is the name of the binary that I want to download from the internet, from the vendor, and the URL. On the build phase of the software, this is the compilation, I just go fetch, is the file here already? If not, I go fetch it from the internet. And I change the progress.mega just to be more convenient for logging. because wget have a good progress bar, but it's not friendly to be put inside a file. And the end, after I have it, I create destination directory for the binary, and I change the name from that name, cp010428.scexe, to updater. It will make it easier to do other things after. So easier that I'm not going to show you, because it's really easy. So what is, and on a Debian package, you can run scripts during the installation to install the files. In this case, you want to run the program that updates the firmware. As simple as that. So there is a control file called postinst that is run after the binary files are in place. And what I do, during the configure phase, that's equivalent to the upgrade action, I just run my updater of firmware. And because it's not a binary well behaved, that always gives an error, I need to ignore the error with O true. And nothing more than this. And with this, we have this first group of all this package and this template. It's as simple as this. There are more files, but they are standard. You don't need to care very much about them. You just need to have a way to find them. So then I had software that was distributed from the HP with an RPM. Binaries were compatible with Debian, but they are inside the RPM, not the deb package. So this is all the software that I've packaged from HP at that time. And I had this template on my source file, HP template alien. Do you know what is alien? Besides green man from space? Okay, explain a little. Alien is a package converter that understands what is a Debian, an RPM, and a TARGZ, and makes conversion between the three formats. So you can pick up a RPM and generate a deb file easily. So what is the action to? So what is the make file from this package? This HP SU CLI, it's a program to configure hardware writes on the server. Do you know what is write 1, write 5? Everyone knows? Okay, good. You are very smart. You are very smart students, or very shy. So, it's the same action that I show you on previous package. I have two variables to represent the name of the package and where it is located on the internet. At that time, you were not very worried about security, about invading the servers of a vendor and putting rogue software on there. So you just download it and trust the vendor. So on the build, what I do the download, I run the alien command. Fake root is a nice program to simulate a root environment that you are running as root without being a root. It just simulates everything that is typical on a root environment, that you can change the owner of the files, the permissions, that kind of things. that alien needs to run. So you can build the software as a normal user. Because when you need root, you are not really needing root. You just need to look like root. So I pick up several software from the package. The PostInst, PostRM, pre-inst, pre-rm, and copyright are some of the control files inside a typical Debian package, and in this case, RPM. Because RPM are the equivalent of this, and the alien does its best effort to convert the scripts from RPM to Deb. So I do one of my first shortcuts, that is to pick up the script from the RPM and put inside the Debian directory. Why this is a shortcut? Because the Debian directory came from the sources of the package and is not supposed to be rewritten during the compilation, during the creation of the package. Most of the files should be static. So that's what I'm doing. I'm subverting the rules and generating these files on the fly. And because I'm not going to upload to Debian, this is fine. And in the end, I just do a glorified recursive copy to pick up the files from the package and do the installation. This is what you're seeing from Xar find, Xargs. It's a glorified recursive copy. Just to be sure, because what problems I'm trying to solve here? Why I use print 0? Because, sorry?
Sorry, thinking out loud.
Well, you can think loud.
Else, perhaps, or special characters.
Spaces, too. Most problematic are spaces. What print 0 says is, instead of looking to spaces as the end of the file or as a new line, use a 0 character, only a 0 character. So what this generate a list of files instead of using a carriage return as the end of the file, because that means that most probably it will look to the space and see there are 2 files instead of 1. And what is Xargs? Xargs is very uncommon and the command where you give a lot of arguments and it do its best to feed them to the command that you want to run. In this case, you want to copy one file at a time to a destination. And this short flag, I no longer use short flags on my scripts to make it easier to read later. What I'm saying is my arguments is terminated with 0 character, not new line. I want to replace something on my command I'm going to run, cp. And I want to replace just one argument at a time. This means that if I feed the Xargs with 1,000 lines, not 1,000 lines, 1,000 files, it will run cp 1,000 times, because that's what I'm asking. If I'm not saying you can copy how many arguments you want in one just call, Xargs do it for you. It knows the limits of the system, know how many arguments you can put in a command, and just do it. So, random software for the classes. DebMake is your friend. It does much better what I've done until now, what I'm trying to show you. And sometimes very easy to do a private package. So I'm going to show you several examples of random software that I've packaged to the classes and how easy it was to do it. EduMips. A nice software, a Java program that was distributed just with a jar. So what I needed to make it useful on the classes, I create this script with the same name of the package, EduMips, as a comment. Just the user, just students don't need to have environment variables to make the software run. So I say where is the Java on the machine. I say I put in a variable where is the jar for the software, and I run jar. I run Java to use Java to run the jar. Something simple like this. So, what is the makefile that compiles this package, this EduMips? It's simple as you fetch the jar, put on a destination directory, and nothing more. Just this. And I have another example, Papi. And this is a good example by documentation. It's so important. When I was looking, oh, what is do? What I'm trying to do here? I don't know. I don't remember. So I went to look to the documentation, the control file. And you see how well documented the software I have done. So don't forget to do your documentation. This control file is your friend. You can put there from the, for example, from the vendor, description of the vendor is acceptable to put here because it's private. It's not to be seen by everyone on Debian. It's not to be judged by Debian. So this is my example. Documentation is important. Starkly. This is another program to configure hardware rights from controllers, at that time SCSI controllers, and it was distributed as a binary, simple binary, that I fetched somewhere in the internet, I don't remember where. So the makefile to generate the package is simple as create, as a safe way, create a bin directory where I'm going to put, the binary, and copy it. And the original file is starkly 64, as I don't like the 64 in the name of the binary. It was sensed that this is a binary for 64 machines, but I was doing machines of 64 bits. So 64 was too much in the name. So I just call it starkly. Another software, WinMips. This is a simulator of a MIP64 architecture for the teachers that teach programming and computer architectures of foreigner CPUs. Let's call it like this way. The software is distributed as a zip. So on my install, I unzip the file to the target where you want to put the files. I copy one extra script. I don't remember what this does. Another why documentation is important. The command, WinMips 64 command, I rename it to just WinMips in the bin directory. And that's it. And it was simple as this. So what is the control file? Documentation. Description of the software, just that. Because it wasn't zip, self-contained. Oh, I just forgot. I've just seen wine. This is a Windows program that we need to run on Debian. So it depends on wine. Again, another section. I'm inventing the section, Taguspark. And as simple as this. Doubts?
I'm guessing there's uninstall sections on those makefiles as well.
Sorry?
You only show in the install section on the makefile, but
Yes.
probably uninstall.
No, it's done another way. I can explain it a little later in the end. Ask me again, I can explain how the uninstall of a package works.
Okay.
So, this is software for seeing graphical files, image. At that time, it was a favorite of the teacher. So I said, I want this software on the classes. So, this is a proper software with a proper makefile, not made by me, and was simple as this. Some flags, so just explanation what is the source file, how to compile from a C file to binary, in the end, how to generate the final binary, and how to clean the mess that you do when you are compiling your software. Simple as this. You don't need to understand very much what is a makefile, but I see many people understand what is a makefile. That's good. So I'm going to introduce another file, rules. What is rules? Rules is the makefile that you use to generate the package. The makefile I've been explaining is related to the software that we are compiling. It explains how to compile the software, how to put the files in a destination, and this is being done under the control of software that generates the package. Rules is the makefile that teach the software that generates the package how to do the package. And as you can see from the comment on the top, this is from debhelper or debmake, or whatever I used at that time. I have some variables that I like it very much to have on my rule files. That is a pack name, a source name, a debvar, the version of distribution that software it is, and for example, where I'm going to upload the package in the end. This machine, Debian Tagus ESTUTLPT, was existing on Tagus. Was my private repository with all the package. So I put it here, these variables, because when I finish the compilation of the package, I just want to do an upload, make upload, and the binary file goes to the right place. So, as you can see, this is the continuation of the rules. The configuring phase is where you teach the software to make package how to configure the software you are compiling. In this case, there is nothing to do. So it's almost empty. The build is action to compile the software, and it's simple too. You just run make. The other make that you have seen it. And in the end, you teach how to install. And you run some preparation, some templates to prepare the temporary files to be ready to represent the package in the end. And you pick up the binary, I don't know how to say it, and put on the target in the bin directory of the machine. Simple as that. So what is the control file? It's a graphical program. Again, Oh, this time I didn't use Taguspark. I just use graphics. I put a description what the program does. It's taken out from the vendor software, and the Debian software could guess all the depends from running the software. Only thing I needed is to declare the build depends, and that was the STL library. STL library was, if I'm not mistaken, a very handy library where you can program for that library, and it will have a program that can display graphics in many different environments. It didn't pick up very much because GL, Vulkan, that kind of things pick up very strong, but for some time it was a simple way to have graphics on your program and be very portable. Conclusion. Before the conclusion, let me explain how the removal of a package works. Because a Debian package is a zip, glorified zip, this means that you have a program that knows all the files that are put on the system. You have a list of all the files. Now, one restriction is one file can only belong to a package, cannot belong to two different packages. That will be a conflict. So when it's time to remove, what is do is not run the action of an install from the upstream, from the programmer of the software, is dpkg, the little program that manipulates that does the low-level installation and the installation of a package, consult his database, see what files were installed, remove it, and run the scripts for removal. First the pre-remove, and in the end the post-remove. And because the software, this is done by dpkg, it's safe to remove software. You know you are not leaving files behind. That's why I think it's so much safer to use apt-get than to use a make install. So what I was trying to explain. Sometimes it's very easy to build a private package. Very, very easy. That's what I was trying to explain. On a private package, you can do many shortcuts because you don't have a long list of rules to obey, because you want to make software good, useful, easy to remove, easy to install, easy to upgrade, being nice if everyone and the other software on the machine. Because in the end, this software was to last only 6 months on the computers, and everything gone wrong. Instead of doing an upgrade, I will start all over again without problems. Don't forget to fill your control file, because documentation is important. Sometime later, you will not remember what you have done, and you do this figure. Oh, I don't remember. And sometimes a simple debmake is enough to produce a private package. This debmake is way behind what I have done in the past. You just feed him with a tag.gz, with the sources of the program. You say, this is a binary, this is a library, this is a multi-binary, and it prepares you a template of files for do everything. It's very easy. Thank you. Questions? Oh, very good student. You understand everything.
Is there any particular reason why you chose to wget the upstream of stuff? I've seen it for at least the firmware and the RPMs, instead of just having it part of your Debian package locally. Since you are distributing a Debian package, you could have just downloaded once, make sure that it's always
Documentation purposes. This way, in my make file, I have to say, oh, the file comes from here. If something happens to my build environment, I have a way to fetch again the file.
Another situation that I have to do, I remember this from non-free packages that we, in the non-free repository, for example, Microsoft fonts. I remember that since the Debian couldn't actually include the binary there because of the Debian packaging guidelines, what used to be the case, I'm not sure I haven't installed Microsoft fonts in quite a while, but is that the script actually included the wget and stuff like that. And so you weren't actually distributing the binaries, you were like distributing something that would get the binary.
Yes, for public packages that make all sense for
well, this is
non-free stuff, but yeah. I think that's it.
Okay, if there is no more questions, thank you very much.